For your workbook practice, which is on the back of your notes, starting out on page 54, we're going to go over one by one on these. You don't necessarily have to know what the sentence is saying with the vocab, but it's good for you to have as practice for you to see what's actually being said. But the one thing we're focusing on is just the actual future tense. So for page 54, you are changing it from simple future, which is you're going to buy something, versus you will buy something in the example there. So for number one, instead of she's going to spend some weeks at the beach, she will spend some weeks will be what? Pasará. And make sure you have a very clear accent on that A. Okay. Now for number two, I'm going to go with her. Iré. Now again, if a verb is irregular, and it happened to be irregular in every other tense we've learned so far, it happens to be a regular verb. So I want you to do process of elimination. If it's not one of the 12 irregulars that we talked about, you treat it like a regular verb. There's no stem changers like boot or shoe or basement. There's nothing that changes whole stem like the 12 irregulars we talked about, or
none of the scary stuff.
Right. None of the other more complicated stuff. The 3 groups of irregulars are the only thing you need to worry about. If it's not one of those 12 verbs, then you treat it like a regular verb. So regular verb, just like said was irregular in every other tense we've done. Said is now a regular verb because it's not one of your 12. Okay. So don't confuse what we've done in the past with what we're doing now. Okay. And same thing, we're not dropping any A or E or I, or we're keeping that on there, then attaching at the end. Okay. Number 3, we changed it from we're going to sunbathe and swim to we will sunbathe. So we're just changing it from simple future tense to actual future tense. Tomaremos. Okay. Number 4, Pedro's going to teach us how to ski in the water. So he will teach would be enseñará. Slightly higher on the accent because of the emphasis there. Okay. And then number 5, Julia and Pedro are also going to learn. And again, instead of going to, we're going to say will learn to scuba dive. There would be aprenderán. Good. Okay. For number 6, we are going to eat some fish in the restaurant. We will eat would be comeremos. Good. Just comer with your ending attached. That one is again, remember, nosotros form is the only one that does not get an accent. So comeremos. Okay. Number 7, my parents will, instead of are going to write me a letter, they will write me would be
I did not pronounce that right.
Escribirán. And that's how you know you're pronouncing it right, is you always hear that R before the ending. And then of course for your spelling purposes, always make sure you have the R. Whether you're talking about regular or irregular verbs, always hear that R and have that R before your ending. For and again, careful on number 7 because they're going to write me a letter. So the me there has nothing to do with who's doing the writing. The parents are still doing the writing. So always careful with extra information there. Okay. Number 8, I'm going to read the letters. So I will read would be leeré. Good, and you pronounce all those E's there. Okay. And for number 9, instead of going to play, you're going to say will play. I will play. Jugaré. Number 10, again, if it's irregular in any other tense, we're not worrying about that. We're just worrying about the fact that if it's not one of our 12 this time, then you treat it like a regular verb. So said in the future tense would be será. Good. Okay. You've heard of the saying or the little song que será, será?
No, but I've heard the saying.
What will be, will be.
I thought you said the song.
Right. Well, sometimes the people make it into a little song. Que será, será. But we don't need to understand. Anyway, so what will be is obviously what it means. Number 11, we, it's implied we there. We are going to return to we will return, which would be volveremos. Good. Okay. All right, on page 65, exercise A, dealing with some of your irregulars there. Careful being able to tell the difference, because when we take a test over this, you'll have regulars and irregulars mixed together. So you can do process of elimination. If it's one of your 12, you treat it like a regular verb. If it's not, you treat it like a If it's one of your irregulars, obviously you follow the rules. If it's not one of your 12 irregulars, then you treat it like a regular verb. So tener for the yo form would be?
I don't know how to pronounce these.
Try it.
Tendré.
Good, tendré. You always hear that R there. Okay. Number 2, poder for the to form? Podrás. Good. Okay. Number 3, poder. Again, don't confuse with poner. Poder again for the yo form? Podré. Okay, always remember which rule that verb follows. Okay. Number 4, venir for the to form? Vendrás. Good. You always hear that R. And for number 5, salir for the nosotros form? Saldremos. No accent on that one. Okay. So, well, let's go ahead and do exercise B, then we'll do the rest. Okay. Exercise B, hacer for the ellos form? Harán. You don't hear that R, just harán. Good. Okay. Number 2, decir. For the yo form first would be diré. And then second verb there, tener for the yo form? I'm sorry, not for the yo form here. This one you have to look at the sentence. Basically, I'm going to tell y'all everything that you all need to know. So in this case, you needed to know what the sentence meant in order to make sure you had the right conjugation. It should be tendrán for that one. Because you're going to tell them what they have to see. And then for number 3, I know, that's present tense, I know that Carlos will want. So that's the future tense there. But who will want? Carlos. So again, the yo form, don't let it confuse you there. What would it be for number 3? Querrá. Okay, and that's where you have your trilled R, which you don't have to know how to do, just as long as you spell it correctly.
Wait, how do you say it again?
Querrá. Just it's a trilled R. And number 4, he will want querrá again. Okay. All right, for exercise C, I want you to pay attention to this one, and I want you to make sure that you understand how to do it because your quiz will have a section that will be very similar to this. You will have to know present and preterite endings, recognize a verb that's already conjugated in either of those 2 tenses, and then change it from that tense, because remember, we can always know what the subject is by the ending. Change it from another tense that we've done to future tense. Okay, so the same exact pattern as exercise C here will be similar to what's going to be on your quiz. So number 1 says, I can't today, and because it has a no there, a negative, will not be able to. Because you can't say will not can't or will not could. It wouldn't make any sense. So I am not able to today, even though we don't say that. So I can't. Or I can today, but will not be able to tomorrow. So it's what verb does puedo come from? Poder. And then you change it for the future tense. Right, for the same subject, podré. So poder is the original, and then since it's an irregular, follow the rule. P-O-D-R is your stem, then E with your ending is your conjugation there. For number 2, they can't come today, and basically won't be able to come tomorrow either. Tampoco. So what verb does venir come, or vienen come from? Sorry, gave it away. Venir. And so for the same subject in the future tense would be vendrán. Good. Number 3, what verb are you changing? Decimos comes from what verb? Decir. And then change it to the nosotros form in the future tense would be? It's irregular, so dir is your stem, and then emos your ending. Diremos. Okay. Number 4, what are you changing? Haces comes from what verb? Hacer, which is irregular in the future. So what do you have to do to it? You don't hear that R, so just harás. Harás. Okay. Number 5, what are you changing? Sale. So sale comes from salir, and make it for the same subject in the future tense would be saldrá. S-A-L-D-R-A with an accent. Okay. Number 6, changing pongo to pondré. So see how they're totally different. Pongo is the irregular to-go verb in the present tense. all those rules are out the window. We're now changing it, and since it's irregular, careful not to confuse poner and poder. Now it's irregular in the future tense, you have to always follow that rule. So it might be easier to go back to the original if it helps you. Yes?
So when you're looking and you find the verb to change it, keep just saying
Subject.
okay.
Yes. So pongo is an implied yo form because of the go change. And so you have to know, and that's what I was saying, you have to be able to recognize the verb conjugated in the present or preterite, be able to tell what the subject is from the conjugation, from the endings or anything that's irregular about it, like pongo, and then be able to go back to the original verb if it helps you, write it off to the side if it helps you, and then fill in the blank with the correct answer. Same subject, but now changing the verb for the future tense. Okay. And then number 7, changing tenemos in the present tense to tendremos in the future tense for the nosotros form. Okay. And last part, exercise D. Changing again from simple future van hacer, they're going to make a trip, to they will make a trip. What would that be? Harán. Good. Number 2 would be they're going to go, so will go. Irán. Good. Accent there. Don't forget your accents on all except for the nosotros form. Number 3 would be saldrán. Good. Number 4, irán. Again. Okay. Number 5, pondrán. Good. Accent. 6, saldrán. Good. 7, querrán. Double R there. And 8, tendrán. Good.
Well, K. Is at the end.
Right, because to have to, the K doesn't change because that's just what you attach to it. Right. And then same verbs for the nosotros form. Number 1 would be haremos. Good. Number 2, iremos. Good. 3, saldremos. Good. 4, iremos again. 5, pondremos. Good. 6, saldremos. And 7, querremos with a double trilled R there. And 8, tendremos. Okay. Do we understand especially the exercise where you're changing it from either present or preterite to future tense? Good.